All right. This is TAIFA World Ministry of Education. We're going to continue our reading by popular demand. I haven't forgot it. I just been busy with other things. So we're going to start back at chapter 26. So get your books out. We're going to continue reading. An exhortation to liberate Italy from the barbarians. Now, before I get started, we're learning the history of other countries and how they achieve independence. And we're applying everything we've learning about the liberation of the Moors in North America, also called black people, Indians, Negroes, colored, all these terms that denote slavery. So you have to be a student of history, of your own history, because if you do not know your history, you will repeat it. And that's because the people who are the the oppressor, they don't change much. They have the same plan, but what they do, they would initiate the plan every 20, 25 years to target the new generation. Yeah, that's what they do. They same plan doesn't change because it works. So why change it? So every 20, 25 years they have a uh, they will do that program. So those of you who two, three generations you're old, and you know the plan. So we have to go out and first educate our people of what their plan is and how to escape being a victim. Do not want to be a victim. Okay, chapter 26. An exhortation to liberate Italy from the barbarians. Having carefully considered the subject of the above discourse and wondering within myself whether present time were prosperous, the present time were propitious to a new prince, or whether they were the elements that would give an opportunity to a wise and virtuous one to introduce a new order of things which would do honor to him and good to the people of this country. It appears to me that so many things occur in favor to favor a new prince that I never knew a time more fit than the present. And if, as I said, it was necessary that the people of Israel should be captive so as to make manifest the ability of Moses, that the Persians should be oppressed by the Medes so as to discover the greatness of the soul of Cyrus, and that the Athenians should be dispersed to illustrate the capabilities of Theseus then at the present time, in order to discover the virtues of an Italian spirit. It was necessary that Italy should be reduced to the extremity she is now in, that she should be more enslaved than the Hebrews, more oppressed than the Persians, more scattered than the Athenians, without head, without order, beaten, despoiled, turned, overrun, and to have endured every kind of desolation. Although lately some speak, excuse me, let me get my other glasses. Okay, I'm back. Okay, although lately some spark may have been shown by one which made us think he was ordained by God for our redemption. Nevertheless, it was afterwards seen in the height of his career that fortune rejected him, so that Italy, left as without life, waits for him. Who shall ye heal? Who shall yet heal her wounds, and put an end to the ravaging and plundering of Lombardy? to the swindling and taxing of the kingdom and of Tusani, and cleanse those sores that have long been festered. It is seen how she entreats God to send someone who shall deliver her from these wrongs and barbarous insolencies. It is seen how she entreats God to send someone who shall deliver her from these wrongs and barbarous insolencies. It is seen also that she is ready and willing to follow a banner if only someone will raise it. Nor is there to be seen at present one in whom she can place more hope than in your illustrious house, with its valor and fortune, favored by God, by the church, of which it is now the chief, and which could be made the head of this redemption. This will not be difficult if you will recall to yourself the actions and lives of the men I have named. And although they were great and wonderful men, yet they were men, and each one of them had no more opportunity than the present offers for, for their enterprises, which neither more just nor easier than this, nor was God more their friend than he is yours. With us there is great justice, because the war is just, which is necessary, and arms are hallowed when there is no other hope but in them. Here there is the greatest willingness, and where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great if you would only follow those men to whom I have directed your attention. Further than this, how extraordinary the ways of God has been manifest beyond example. The sea is divided, a cloud has led the way, the rock has poured forth water, it has rained manna, everything has contributed to your greatness. You ought to do the rest. You ought to do the rest. God is not willing to do everything, and thus take away our free will and that share of glory which belongs to us. And it is not to be wondered as if none of the above named Italians have been able to accomplish all that is expected from your illustrious house. And if in so many revolutions in Italy and in so many campaigns it has always appeared as if military virtue were exhausted, this has happened because the old order of things were not good, and none of us have known how to find a new one. And nothing honors a man more than to establish new laws and new ordinances when he himself was newly risen. Such things, when they are well founded and dignified, will make him reverend and admired. And in Italy, there are not wanting opportunities to bring such into use in every form. Here there is great valor in the limbs, whilst it fails in the head. Look attentively at the duels and the hand-to-hand combats, how superior our Italians are in strength, dexterity, and subtlety. But when it comes to armies, they do not bear comparison, and this springs entirely from the insufficiency of the leaders, since those who are capable are not obedient, and each one seems to himself to know that having never been at any one so distinguished above the rest, either by valor or fortune, that others would yield to him. Hence it is that for so long a time, in doing so much fighting in the past 20 years, whenever there has been an army wholly Italian, it has always given a poor account of itself. First witness to this is the Taro, afterwards Alexandria, Capu, Genoa, Vela, Bologna, Mystery. If therefore your illustrious house wish to follow those remarkable men who have redeemed their country, it is necessary before all things, as a true foundation for every enterprise, to be provided with your own forces, because there can be no more faithful, truer, or better soldiers. And also, singly, they are good, although they will be much better when they find themselves commended by their prince, honored by him, and maintained at his expense. Therefore, it is necessary to be prepared with such arms so that you can be defended against foreigners by Italian valor. And although Swiss and Spanish infantry may be considered very formidable, nevertheless there is a defect in both, by reason of which a third order would not only be able to oppose them, but might be relied upon to overthrow them. For the Spanish cannot resist cavalry, and the Swiss are afraid of infantry whenever they encounter them in close combat. Owing to this, as has been and may again be seen, the Spanish are unable to resist French cavalry, and the Swiss are overthrown by Spanish infantry. And although a complete proof of this latter cannot be shown, nevertheless there is some evidence of it as the Battle of Ravenna, where the Spanish infantry were confronted by German battalions who followed the same tactics as the Swiss. When the Spanish, by agility of body and with the aid of their shield, got in under the pikes of the Germans and stood out of danger, able to attack, while the Germans stood helpless, and if the cavalry had not dashed up, all would have been over with them. It is possible, therefore, knowing the defects of both these infantries, to invent a new one which will resist cavalry and not be afraid of infantry. This need not create a new order of arms, but a variation from the old. And these are the kinds of improvements which confer reputation and power upon a new prince. This opportunity, therefore, ought not to be allowed to pass for letting Italy at last see her liberation appear, nor can one express the love with which he would be received in all those provinces which have suffered so much from these foreign scourings, with what thirst for revenge, with what stubborn faith, and what devotion, with what tears. What door would be closed to him who would refuse obedience to him? What envy would hinder him? What Italian would refuse him homage? To all of us, this barbarous domination stinks. Let, therefore, your illustrious house take up this charge with that courage and hope with which all just enterprises are undertaken, so that under its standard our native country may be ennobled, and under its auspices may be verified that saying of Petrarch, Virtù contro il furore, per andare l'uomo il fin del combate corte, c'è antico valor, negle italici conoscono in cor morto. Well, that concludes the reading of chapter 26. So we will try not to wait a long time before we get to the next chapter. However, if you missed the live, you'll find it in the recordings. And we're going to have a Zoom call because I want a real private meeting to discuss these principles in the book. Okay, so if anyone's in the chat with questions, let me know what you got. Okay, nobody's here. So we're going to say hiya to the tribe, Asel, Assalamu alaikum, and peace to the visitors, and you're welcome.